Hello my planner pals and welcome back, and if you're new here then thank you for joining me and giving me a try. My name is Di, I am here at Creative Design. Today we are talking about creative journaling, and specifically I'm going to give you 7 tips to help you with your creative journaling. So I'm going to share these tips in no particular order. They're mainly to give you like a jumping point for inspiration. If you haven't started your creative journal already, I'm hoping that this inspires you to start. If you have started a creative journal, I'm hoping that this gives you some ideas to kind of take it to the next level. So the first tip is that you're going to have to choose a layout. Now the beauty of the disc system is that you can change that layout at any point, Now last year I was using the vertical, and this is the vertical, and I just literally kind of was trying to do a catch-all and a vertical, and then it morphed into more journaling as the week went on, mostly because we were still kind of going through like the leftover pandemic stuff and I didn't have a lot going on. So it's going to change, so bear that in mind. What works for you now may not work for you in 6 months time, but that's all I did. I just used the vertical. As I progressed through the year, it did change. So that was last year. I used the vertical. If you find a planner on clearance, and I will link, I have a video all about clearance planners here, but if you found an out-of-date planner, this is a great use for an out-of-date planner because you don't really need the dates to be in any particular order because you're just going to journal in it. And it doesn't matter if things kind of go on the same day. But that's what I first did. I used the vertical. And then I started whiting out the lines because I just figured out that I like to kind of write everywhere. I don't care where I write. So I found then that whiting out the lines gave me a lot more creativity and freedom. So that's what I did then. I started whiting out all of the lines. And then I switched to just dot grid. I don't know if you can see that this is just a very faint dot grid. It just gives me a line to write on without having the structure of the vertical. I can just do whatever I want and write wherever I want in any direction that I want. So yeah, figure out what layout is going to work for you. If you find an old one, you can just use that. If you have some dot grid paper, just use that. So yes, and if you're worried about if it's got color on the spine and you don't want that, I have a video on how to fix that here. But yes, choose your layout. That is the first thing you're going to do. And again, if you don't like it, or if you find that you don't like it, you can just change it. That's why we use the disc system. All right, tip number 2, and that is shown on this page, and I'll give you some examples of others. But my advice to you is to get a handful of pens, and if you just like using black, get a handful of black pens that you like, but get them in different thicknesses. So if you've been here before, you'll know that my favorite pen to journal in is the Pilot G2.38. It's very, very fine. I will show you examples later, but I also have it in a 0.5, I have it in a 0.7, and I have it in a 1.0. So I can kind of mix up the thickness of my pen. I will also use Papermate flares because they're a little bit thicker. I'll also use brush markers. Like, I have a variety of different thicknesses so that when I'm doing my spreads, it doesn't just look like rows and rows of text. It has something different to give it some interest. And that works for me, for my brain. So you can see here that I've just like used, I think this is the Papermate flare, and just use it to journal here. This is an example, I think this was the 0.38. So you can see how it just looks completely different to this one. Like, those just look completely different. The pen size makes things different. So if you've got a lot of writing to do and only a small space, use a 0.38 so that you can get all of that writing down on the page. It's another example here of the different sizes of pens. That was the 0.38, that was the Papermate flare. Again, 0.38, Papermate flare. Like they're different sizes, and you can see that clearly when you look at it. So yeah, get yourself some different size of pens. And I think you can see that more clearly here. I used, I think it was a double-ended pen on this particular spread. Like, it had a thin end, like a fine liner, and a thick end. And I think that's very clear here that you can see that, of how the different sizes and thicknesses of the letters really make it look different than just walls of text. So get yourself some different size and thicknesses of your pens. And that's where the double-ended markers come in really handy, because one end has a thick tip and the same color has a thin fine liner. So these were just cheap ones that I picked up off Amazon. I will link them down below. I think they're pretty decent. That's what I did this with, I'm pretty sure. But also, yeah, I mean, even if you have your Crayola Super Tips, this thickness of pen changes depending on how much pressure you put on it. So it can be thin or thick. So if you see these are pretty cheap, pick them up. And they come in tons of different colors too. Which leads to the next point, point number 3. And that is to use different colors. So it's very tempting to just use black. But when we have all the colors of the rainbow, sometimes black doesn't work. Black would not have worked on this spread, I don't think. I think it would have ruined the spread and then I would have regretted it. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I do regret the spreads after. But I think this just shows you that green can really fill in the spread and make the pink pop. If I'd done black pen on this, I think your eyes would have been more drawn to the black pen and the stickers wouldn't have stood out as much. Now the same with this one. I think if I did use black pen on this one, it just would have looked a bit weird when there was so much other color. So I decided that I was going to use different colors in different sections that were the same colors as the stickers and then put them in different sections. I do have a video all about that and you can see that here. But yeah, it just shows you how I choose the pens when I'm doing my creative journal. And even if you don't want to do the whole thing as different colors, you can just pick out like your titles for each section and do that as color. So if you're afraid of doing the whole thing in color, just pick out little words that you can use as your headers. And again, you can see that here where I just use different words to kind of pull the color off the page and make it a little bit more cohesive. So this is another example of color, and it also brings in the next tip, which is to kind of make one word of your journaling a focus. Have a focus word, and it can be more than one word, it can be a couple of words, but have one word as a focus. And I think about this as if I was looking at something like in a newspaper, you know how they have sometimes like a header partway down or a focus word, and you can automatically see what that text is about. It's that. It's the focus word of that wall of text. So I know that this was something that I've broken, and in that case, it was my Jack Skellington mug. Something here is about everything is either getting you down or something like that. This was 20-degree weather. This is something about florals. This is about feelings. This is about sticker books. This is about Etsy. This is about the Creative Spark Summit, clearly. But it just shows you that you can automatically see what that topic is in that section. Now you can see again here that I've done the same kind of thing. Again, I've used color. This was about my allergies. This is about the patio. This is about me. This is about sick, sleeping, rehab, about trying to do better, Stella A to B. So think about the word that you want to pull off the page. Now I've also done this in a different way in that I've put stickers here too. So it doesn't have to be just the boldness of the word. You can also do it in stickers. And you can see that even here, hopefully without too much glare, I used the alphabet stickers. This is about my kidney. This is about balance. This is about my mom having a seizure. This is about one little word. Like there's all different little ways that you can draw attention to each area. This is one of my favorite examples of that. I used alphabet stickers that I used here for the date, and I did little sections here for almost like headers. And this is a great way to use all those alphabet stickers up that are in your sticker books. If you don't want to put them in your planner spreads, put them in your journal. All right, tip number 5, and that is to use different fonts. So if you're not the kind of person that wants to use like stickers and stuff like that, you just want to use pen, think about changing up your fonts. So I've got all caps here. I've got script here. I've got outlined text, almost like block text. I've got script here. I've got like all capitals here. I sometimes do a mix. You can mix and match, and the area of the text will look completely different. This looks completely different to this. So having the color You can outline the color like I have here as well, and it makes it just look completely different. I did the same thing here, color. I used the fine pen. Again, that was the 0.38 pen to just go around it and make it pop more off the page and make it a little bit more cohesive. And I've used the pen, the same color pen, but without the outline in a couple of areas too. I've used bolded black here. I've got script here. So you can mix and match all types of fonts, of sizes, upper and lowercase. You can do block, you can do like block lettering, you can do cursive, calligraphy, foligraphy, everything. So again, you can do everything in one spread. Got cursive, blocks, capitals. I've got mixtures. Yeah, this is a mix of like regular writing. I've got caps, I've got all caps, I've got no caps. You can do it all on one page. There's no rules. Another example here, script, calligraphy, something even different there. I don't even know what that is. We'll call that everything because I put a shadow on it. And I thought it needed the shadow to kind of balance this green. It works. You got different fonts here, different font here. So mix up your fonts. Mix up your fonts. And I think the Creative Journal just gives you the chance to play with different fonts. Like I was practicing like bubble fonts this week. So just give yourself the opportunity to practice. Practice. My next tip will be, don't censor yourself. It's very easy to, when we're posting on social media, to just post things that you only want people to see. Don't censor yourself. The whole reason that you're doing the Creative Journal is to get things out of your head and onto the page. It's how we process, right? And sometimes that means writing down feelings that sometimes aren't suitable for sharing, right? Or that you don't want to share, they're too personal. If you find that you still want to share the spread, like I did a flip through of this, and I didn't want to, so I did a flip through of this, and I didn't want to share the journaling that's underneath here. So all I did was just put on some Post-its, some sticky notes. I got these from Dollar Tree, and I just put them on here. They match the spread, and my journaling remains private for me. So yeah, if you're going to post on social media, don't feel you have to censor yourself. Just put a sticky note on there and just be like, yeah, that was just for me. Tough. Tough. All right, my final tip is just start and practice. Stop comparing your journal to somebody else's because they're all going to be different. They're all going to be different. And caveat to that, there will be journal spreads that you absolutely hate. So just as there will be planner spreads you hate, there will be journal spreads that you hate. So yes, just start. Because each one is a lesson in itself. Like this was where I started using more alphabet stickers to use them up and get them out of my stash and start using more colors. And you'll go through phases of that. Again, alphabet stickers. You'll go through phases with things. This was all black, and then I added some stickers here. Like there will be phases to your creative journaling, just like there's phases to your planner stuff. So just go with it. Just go with it. Because what you'll find is each spread has its own mood to it. So this looks bright and cheery. It's got pink and gold and green. This one is more kind of dark and moody. This one is very, I'm going to say airy. It feels very airy to me. This was the flamingos. And it's funny how you also have an emotion attached to the spread sometimes. This, for me, I absolutely love. Like there's ones that you really love and ones that you're like, meh, not really bothered. But yeah, just practice, just start and try new things. Try new things. You're not limited. That's one of the things with planners. You're kind of limited to the lines and stuff like that. And you know, if I have something on Saturday, it has to go here. Whereas the Creative Journal, you can just put stuff anywhere. And that's all I do. I have a week for each spread and I just go. I just go. And if I have a time where I don't write, and that just happened, I didn't finish this off because I was prepping for a vacation and I just didn't get a chance to put anything in. I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave it. So yeah, you can write in any direction. It just gives you a lot of freedom when you are journaling. So yes, those are my 7 tips, but stop comparing yourself to other people. Just start and practice. It all comes down to practice. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and it just gave you an insight into how to change from just lines of text, which is fine, and maybe just take it to the next level and just add stickers, add stamps, and stuff like that. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you next time, my planner pals. Bye.